Hello. Welcome to the second part of the Boundless Necromancer. A special thanks to my Patreon for supporting me. And if you want to support, you can join my Patreon for as low as $1. Thank you very much. Let's begin. At the beginning of this part we see that Sungyun is surrounded by the old lady and he thinks, the strength in my body. A lot of hands come toward him to grab him. A really big mouth appears in front of him ready to eat him. It eats Sungyun. Old lady is enjoying and says, this flavor. Sungyun and old lady are standing in front of each other. Sungyun is confused. Old lady says, pass. Sungyun says, sorry. Pass. What do you mean? She says, you've passed the 5th trial. You move on. Sungyun says, how come? She says, the 5th trial starts with metacognition. In other words, only those with a strong will are qualified to look into their own minds. I felt that strong will from you. A violent will to slay anyone if it means you can get stronger. She says, I can feel it, a desire to become stronger no matter whom you have to kill. I can feel it in the deeper layers of your mind. If you intend to kill me, then hurry on with it. I'd be glad to rest in the arms of God before I get too old. Sungyun says, I won't do that. She asks why. Sungyun says, there's no need to murder for no reason when I've already passed. Why are you asking such an obvious question? She says, how unexpected. It would have been fine if I had made you go through the entirety of the trail. Sungyun feels something and gets ready to fight. She says, I'll repeat myself, but you've passed. Then goodbye. I hope you'll successfully prove yourself. He thinks, black seeped into the mirror's surface. And soon enough I was in a void where I couldn't see even a speck of light. A girl appears right by him and says, hi. He swings his sword, but the girl disappears. Sungyun thinks, not again. The girl says, yes, you're right. You're already in the realm of the mind. Sungyun gets angry and thinks I knew it. The girl says, Miss Henir planted a seed on you. So that you could fall into the realm of the mind. He thinks about the old lady and says, Henir. Is she talking about the old priestess just now? The girl says, correct. She ties Sungyun with wines and says, but you don't need to worry too much. I'm guarding you body from the outside. Sungyun thinks, that's even more worrying. She says, oh my. Why are you so harsh? Such a rude comment to a lady. I could pierce a hole in your throat as I wished. Are you okay with that? Sungyun says, may I ask how I'm supposed to prove my faith? She says, look at you all polite. Very cute. She says, alright, I'll explain. You're in the realm of the mind. You just need to look into your own mind realm. Then the 6th trial will end. Sungyun says, what do you mean, my own mind realm? She says, a person's mind is largely influenced by a person's faith. But no one can look into that. She says, it's like if you were to close your eyes and look into the void. I'll pass if I can see the essence of the mind realm where I can't see anything. She says, correct. Well, then, in the name of Aileen and his priestess of the god of verification, I'll begin the 6th trial. A lot of water appears under his feet and he starts to drown. She says, are you surprised? I'm sure the pain feels real. And you'll have to hurry and find a solution. Otherwise, you'll experience drowning without water. Sungyun activates Serene Mind. Due to authority, Serene Mind rank C-, user will not lose peace of mind. And the restrictions of the mind will be weakened. Sungyun thinks, alright, that's much better. I can hold my breath as long as I don't panic. Plus just now, I thought I felt something at my fingertips. She says, you're really determined. I didn't expect you to react by moving your body while in the territory of the mind. She says, being able to defend himself even in the subconscious territory. He's really skilled. Sungyun frees his one hand and ready to attack. Sungyun thinks, I'll keep it a secret that I almost killed him because of that. Sungyun spins around his one hand and thinks, alright, my bodily senses are slowly but surely coming back. She says, what? You should barely be able to feel anything in here. No. How can you even be aware of your body in just 2 hours? Are you some monster? Sungyun says, did you say 2 hours? It must have been only a minute. She says, time in the real world passes much faster than here. Sungyun says, what? This is dangerous. If I use most of the time I have left of the 7 days in here, then I might die from the trial failure penalty. I need to somehow look into the mind realm as fast as I can. If I could regain my bodily awareness through serene mind, then maybe I can also activate skills too. Sungyun activates the flame dragon eye. Sungyun thinks, I can see it. This is. Sungyun is standing in the ocean of blood. She says, no way. What is this? Why is the mind realm all visible suddenly? She is really surprised and says, I have something to ask you, are you human? Why are there wings of steel on your back? Sungyun activates wings of steel. And jumps really fast. Sungyun thinks, my mind realm that I was able to see through flame dragon eye. I couldn't really put a hand on what it meant. But it looked very twisted and ominous. There are a lot swords floating around in a circle. Sungyun's hand reaches out toward a sword. He grabs a sword. He frees himself. Sungyun is surprised and says, did I do this? She says, who else if not you? Administrator White Crane Swordmaster is happy that you're awake. Administrator Iron Blood Monarch lets out a sigh of relief now that you're awake. Administrator Fallen World Soldier is shocked that you're awake earlier than expected. Sungyun removes the dirt and says, I don't get how it's related. She says, proof of faith is the path of acknowledging the self. Sungyun says, acknowledging the self. She says, people don't know much about their beliefs. They don't even know what they believe in or think about very well. The goal of this trail was to face the mind realm that was. Sungyun sees himself in the mirror and he look older and his hairs are longer. She says, greeted through the process of believing, thinking, and acting. To overcome a dark past and become stronger, without losing your humanity. That's what I read from your mind. What do you think? Pretty straightforward. But, being true to your own desires is sometimes the right path to take. Sungyun opens the door to the next trial. She says, goodbye, explorer. System says, you have reached the 7th trial. And he is walking on a broken bridge. And there is a really big portal in front of him. System says, the god of verification watches you. Sungyun is watching the portal. He thinks of flashback and says, no one has passed the 7th trial. He feels really strong pressure and falls on his one knee. System says, the god of verification is aware of the existence of challenger Han Sungyun. Sungyun thinks, I'm getting sleepier. No, it's different. There is a really big snake and mouse running from it. Sungyun thinks, my body gives up on survival by itself. All I did was receive its gaze. So this is what a god is. He gets really angry and says, I won't do it anymore. He thinks about his parents' death. And raise his sword. And stabs his hand. System says, skill Ashen Blood has been activated. All categories of pain that are inflicted on the use rare reduced by 17%. Sungyun shouts and says, I won't do stupid things like getting stepped on helplessly. He thinks, any ordeal has a way to break throat. He takes out the sword from his hand. And gets ready to fight and thinks, the Tower of Trails was probably constructed like that. I don't know if I'm able to cut those eyes in the first place. But if there's even a slight chance. There is really big eye looking at him through the portal. He jumps toward the eye and says, even if it's just 1 centimeter closer. I'll cut it. He does a really strong slash attack, and says, a mere god. Slash attack is about to hit the eye. But slash attack disappears. Sungyun thinks, that sucks, my consciousness. System says, the god of verification is impressed by your grit. The god of verification is happy to see a challenger with tough mental strength for the first time in a while. The god of verification sees your endless confident gaze and asks for you to verify yourself. The god of verification will remember challenger Han Sungyun's existence. The god of verification informs you of the start of the 7th gate. Sungyun thinks, it disappeared. The god of verification. Things like gods, really exist. A mirror appears in front of him. He says, this is. He sees his future self in the mirror and System says, link with the future you and begin synchronization. He touches the mirror with one finger. System says, verification of the mind is beginning. The assimilation rate of you in the mirror slowly increases. A really big mouth is about to eat him. System says, a verification trial best suited for challenger Han Sungyun has been given. Verify that your beliefs won't change even in the future. He falls through a portal. He thinks, where is it? The man from Gate 1 is crying, and he thinks, Johan from Gate 1. Johan says, my mirror. My mirror, where is it? A portal appears behind him. He sees through the portal and says, this place is Christmas. It seems to be Korea. He sees himself from the future and thinks, the future me from earlier. How do I get back? His future self is cutting his arms. Sungyun sees that and thinks, wait. What is he trying to do? A lot of people are screaming with his blood attack. Sungyun screams and thinks, you crazy. System says, the assimilation rate between the you in the mirror and you forcefully increase by 10%. He feels some immense pain in his chest. Sungyun thinks, my chest, it feels like it's being torn into pieces. These disgusting mixed emotions, guilt, madness, and rage. Someone appears behind Sungyun and says, it's you, right? The one who took my mirror. That man grabs him from the head. Sungyun screams with pain. Some black energy covered his face. System says, all skills that interfere with Challenger Han Sungyun's mind have been sealed. That man says, mirror. Sungyun thinks, damn it. In the verification of the mind, mental protection is especially important. What am I supposed to do if serene mind is blocked? Sungyun creates a really strong energy ball in his hand. Sungyun says, if I knew it was like this, I would have crossed the line a while ago. System says, the assimilation rate between the you in the mirror and you forcefully increases to 20%. System says, due to unbearable mental shock, you have gotten the status abnormality chi deviation. Sungyun coughs blood. Sungyun says, how? Why? Why am I doing something so cruel? He sees his future self killing a lot of peoples. Sungyun thinks, I did obsess over strength, but there's no way I would just do that. You currently have the status abnormality chi deviation. If you do not resolve chi deviation, proficiency in skill mana circuit can drop by at most 10%. System says, skill mana circuit, proficiency drops by 0.3%, 0.7%, 0.4%. Sungyun is feeling a lot of pain in his chest. Sungyun thinks, my mana circuit is overheating too much. He sees further into the future. He sees himself in Muram world. He future self says, call the Muram Alliance leader out here now. He says, then, at the very least, I'll spare everyone here. Someone come there and says, recently there's been a madman called the Sword Ghost, in Muram. Seeing you like this, I feel like you really do deserve to be called the Sword Ghost. The man says, nice to meet you. I'm the Muram Alliance's leader, Lee Jinwan. What is your name? Future Sungyun jumps toward Jinwan. Jinwan gets ready to fight. They both collide with each other. And a really big shockwave happens. After that we see a lot of people are dead. And Sungyun is walking toward Jinwan and Jinwan is injured and on the ground. Jinwan says, I'm dumbfounded. You killed all the alliance members you said you'd spare. Are you not ashamed? Sungyun says, not really. Sloppy guys are just my combat resources. Resources that don't let me get tired or hurt. They don't have any more or any less value than that. He cuts down the head of Jinwan. Sungyun coughs a lot of blood. System says, the assimilation rate between the you in the mirror and you forcefully increases to 30%. Sungyun says, during the dozens of times that the location in the mirror changed. After the me killed thousands and became endlessly stronger. Future Sungyun cuts someone else's head and that man was saying, you will be cursed. I, the Pope of all the gods of Ares, will beg for your death. Sungyun says, I was in the state similar to a monster, enveloped in madness and only looking to become stronger. He kills a cat looking like a monster. Stop now. Haven't you already killed all the people of the king? Please, at least spare the king. Sungyun says, a crazy monster that never loses. Future Sungyun is about to kill someone else and that man says, no way, someone who conquered the Muram dimension coming to a smaller dimension like this. Sungyun is screaming with pain. System says, the assimilation rate between the you in the mirror and you forcefully increases to 40%. And then to 50%. Sungyun thinks, if the assimilation rate keeps increasing, at the end of it. There are tears in Sungyun's eyes. And creepy madman smile on his face. He says, was it this kind of feeling? The pleasure from it is no joke. A really big lightning strike hits a building. His friends get there and says, did you think you could get away after having done something as shitty as that? Han Sungyun. Sungyun is holding a dead hunter. His friend says, why did you do it? For what reason are you willing to kill people in order to get stronger? Future Sungyun says, reason. Why are you asking me such a useless question? I'm killing others because it's good for my progress. His friend says, you're aware that I can control lightning, right? With the weather like this, you better be prepared to die. Die. You demonic bastard. He uses really strong lighting attack on Han Sungyun. Sungyun says, yes. Even I shouldn't consider you an easy opponent. If I'm Han Sungyun, that is. System says, kill him by splitting him in half. His other friend says, please. Please. Get it together, Han Sungyun. Han Sungyun is covered in blood. Sungyun thinks, if I make one mistake, I'll be eaten up by this bastard's mind. Just 50% synchronization is making me feel like my mind's splitting apart. I need to find a solution quickly before it's too late. System says, the assimilation rate between the you in the mirror and you forcefully increases to 60%. Skill mana circuit proficiency drops by 0.1%. Skill mana circuit proficiency drops by 0.5%. Skill mana circuit proficiency drops by 0.2%. The assimilation rate between the you in the mirror and you forcefully increased to 70%. Sungyun thinks, I can't hold on any longer, the mental shock is too much. I can't differentiate any more between pain and pleasure. It feels too good. Man from the first trial and says, it's you. Who took my mirror, huh? Sungyun thinks, back then. System says, High Priest's mirror filled with divinity rank C+. A mirror imbued with divinity every single day by the High Priest Johann. Can use the divinity to manifest a divine barrier just once. When manifesting a divine barrier, mind corruption will be lessened to a certain degree. Sungyun brings out the divine mirror. System says, High Priest's mirror filled with divinity rank C+ is being activated. A divine barrier protects you and gets rid of all mental corruption of a certain level. Status abnormality energy deviation is being undone. Sungyun breaks the future Sungyun into two and comes out of it. Sungyun screams and says, I won't let myself be swallowed. System says, you have accomplished Mind of Steel. Stamina has increased by 1. You have proven that your faith has not changed. Verification of the mind has ended. Administrator Iron-Blooded Monarch is relieved that the contractor is okay. Administrator Fallen World Soldier laughs, saying that he never expected you to do that. Administrator White Crane Swordmaster is happy that the contractor is in a stable state again. God of Verification is satisfied with Challenger Han Sungyun's performance. God of Verification would like to meet Challenger Han Sungyun. God of Verification is forcibly summoning Challenger Han Sungyun to the Divine Region. Sungyun thinks, Divine Region, a forced summoning. God of Verification used divine power on the Tower of Trials for temporary authority. Administrators can no longer watch Challenger Han Sungyun. Tower of Trials permits the summoning as long as Han Sungyun is safe. Entering the Divine Region of Verification. Sungyun is standing above the sky in an empty space. He thinks this place is. A god appears in front of Sungyun. God says, who are you? Why do I feel divine power from you? Sungyun sees him and thinks, God of Verification. God says, you don't need to stare at me like that. I assume you only see me as a bundle of light anyway. But it is rather strange seeing you in front of me. Are you, a divinity copy created by the tower? Sungyun thinks, divinity copy. Sungyun says, I'm not sure what you mean. God says, divinity copy, I think you call it administrator. I'm asking if you're a being who obtained divinity through a contract with the tower. Sungyun says, I'm not an administrator, I'm just a challenger. God says, tight, you're different from a divinity copy. You possess a divine power that is solely your own. The tower has gotten interesting during my absence. I guess they realized they cannot create the real thing using divinity copies. To create a real one using an apostle of a dignity copy. I get it, Challenger Han Sungyun. You're no normal being. Sungyun says, what? Sungyun thinks, he makes it sound like I've done something amazing, but all I did was just, kill Chiron and coincidentally obtain divine power. Sungyun says, is this divine power that important? God says, do you really not know the answer to that when you've extracted divine power yourself? I thought you removed even the traces of a god because you knew. Look like you don't know anything. Sungyun says, I just happened to obtain it. God says, you just happened to. You just happened to perfectly remove the traces of a god. From the divine power I bestowed upon my followers. You may not be aware of it, but extracting Heron's divine power was no coincidence. I can sense that there is a clear cause and effect. Sungyun says, cause and effect. God says, I'm certain considering the Tower of Trials has such high expectations of you. Sungyun thinks, the Tower of Trials has high expectations of a challenger. God says, I've made a mistake. I guess I wasn't supposed to let you know about that. The tower is enraged. This is goodbye, Challenger Han Sungyun. I'll keep an eye out for now you're doing. Sungyun says, I still have questions to ask. What happened to the me in the future? What is this divine power and cause and effect that you're talking about? God says, looks like you look too deeply into your future self. When you look into that void, the void also looks back at you. The void is always looking for a chance to pry into your mind. That's something you need to watch out for. You will soon be returned to where you came from. Sungyun says, can't we talk any longer? God says, it's a shame, but this is where the conversation must end. I have no choice. The tower is a difficult being to deal with for any god. If you visit the Temple of Verification later, I may be able to answer some of your questions. God says, I'll leave you with one piece of advice. Do not trust the other gods. They will now consider you their enemy. System says, congratulations. You have cleared the 11th floor. Old Mirror of Verification rank S-. Will be sent to your inventory as a reward. You have obtained 70,000 points as a reward. You have obtained 3,000 SP as a reward. You have obtained 1,500 SP as an extra reward. Being sent to lobby. Sungyun thinks, God. That being who seemed to have transcended everything told me that the extraction of Chiron's divine power wasn't a coincidence and that he could feel that there was a clear cause and effect. The means the tower wanted me to extract the divine power and make it mine. Sungyun thinks, I guess that was the cause and effect. Plus, he said the tower has high expectations of me, a mere challenger. Let's say it was all the tower's doing that I was able to form a contract with the administrators. And that I was able to extract Chiron's divine power. Then what purpose does the tower have in doing all that? Administrators, divinity copies, divine power, making a real one. Sungyun thinks about God saying, do not trust the other gods. Sungyun is sitting on the bed in waiting room and thinks, I don't get it at all. This is frustrating. At the very least, even if the gods consider me their enemy, they can't do anything to me because of the tower. System says, system is expanding. Earth is being registered as an official climbing dimension in the Tower of Trials. As a benefit of the registration, there will be added protection from dimensional invasions. Now challengers of other dimensions will be met with a penalty when coming to Earth. As a benefit of the registration, challengers other than the pioneers can now earn a halo. Challenger Han Sungyun is now visible once again to the administrators. Administrator Iron-Blooded Monarch is relieved to see you again. Administrator White Crane Swordmaster sniffles and looks you over. Sungyun thinks, divinity copy, I think you call it administrator. The administrators are also a kind of divinity. Can I trust them? No, I can't trust anyone at this point in time. This is shitty. You have entered the world of Iron Blood. Administrator comes running toward Sungyun and says, Han Sungyun. Are you hurt anywhere? Sungyun bring out a sword and attack Iron Blood Administrator. Iron Blood says, Han Sungyun. Sungyun says, all of you administrators are cooperating with the tower to use me, huh? Iron Blood thinks, it seems like he's still being affected by the verification of the mind. The second part of the Boundless Necromancer end here. Please subscribe and like, and if you want me support financially you can join my Patreon only for $1. Patreon and Discord links are in the description if you want support me. And a special thanks to all my Patreons for supporting me. Thanks for watching.